Hey, what's up, Roxstars? It's Rox with a little bit of talk about what's at the top of the blog. So
Here's what you got it. Makeup in the morning, you got dresses in your closet, but you grab them tight, you in love with being modest.
all right, you guys, first story up is actually a pretty sad story. It's kind of one of those stories where you just listen to it and you just wonder why people do the things that they do. In this case, we're talking about the missing submersible from OceanGate. That is the company that has 5 people on there who decided to go on an expedition to look at the remains of the ship from the Titanic. You know, the Titanic ship that went down back over 100 years ago. Remember when the ship went down, it sunk. There was no way for them to remove that ship, so it's been sitting there all this time. And, you know, we have many people who are explorers and scientists and many others that have a lot of interest in that vessel down there, okay? So this team of 5, let me tell you their names. We have, let's see. Okay, so their names are going to be kind of hard to say, so you guys just be patient with me. First, we have Stockton Rush. He is the pilot. He's the founder and CEO of OceanGate. That's the company that got the vessel together, the submersible together. We have Hamish Harding, who's a British aviation businessman and adventure seeker. We have Paul-Henri Nargeolet, who is a retired French Navy commander. He's also a long-standing authority on everything Titanic, so that was the reason why he wanted to go down there. Next we have Shahzada Dawood, who is a prominent British Pakistani businessman and philanthropist. He is also the vice chairman of conglomerate Ingro Corporation. And then we have Sulman Dawood, who is the son of Shahzada Dawood, who is only 19 years old. He's the youngest of all the passengers on the submersible. Just graduated high school, on his way to college. Hey, S, you're texting me right in the middle of me doing my video. I'll text you back in a bit. Oh, I'm texting you now. Yeah, actually, I saw that tweet. I've seen that a few people have sent me a video that another YouTuber did, and they used my tweet. So that's what S is texting me about. Yeah, girl, I know. I saw it. A few people have sent it to me. Anyway, getting back to the story. So those are the 5 people that are on the boat. The boat went down Saturday. I believe they said it was Saturday. It was a Sunday morning that that the submersible went underwater. And they were told at the time that they had 96 hours of oxygen on the submersible. They weren't really worried about that because I believe they expected to come right up. They went down there. They were going to stay down there for some time and then coming right back up. But that is not how it worked. From what I understand, they lost track of the submersible like within 2 hours of them leaving. They fell off of the radar. They weren't able to see exactly where they were. And there's no way that they've been able to communicate with the people on there. Now, hindsight is always 20/20. I'm looking at the stuff that they were talking about, as they prepared for this submersible to go down. First of all, this remote control, this Xbox remote control that the founder was so excited to share with the news person that was interviewing him at the time. But apparently the whole thing is controlled by this $50 Xbox controller. I'm not sure if it's exactly that controller or if it's something very similar, but the man showed it to him and was just like, this is the way that they operate this huge thing that's going down over 2 miles, somewhere around 13,000 feet underwater. And for the life of me, I just, I don't understand why it was done to begin with. Now, I am not an adventure seeker. And so that probably is the reason why it doesn't make sense to me. I know that there are people out there who love to explore and go and do. So maybe it would make more sense to them. But even for those who love this type of thrill, who loves to seek and go places that many others aren't able to go, it just seems like the plan was never, it just doesn't seem like, when they start telling us about all of the things that went into the planning of this expedition, it never seemed like it was all that solid of a plan to begin with. Okay. And now we've got all these people that are underneath the water. This is Thursday morning that I'm recording this, and they are expected to run out of air this morning. The 96th hour was sometime this morning. And, you know, I think that for those of us who are watching this realistically, you know, we probably have assumed that those people are no longer alive. I've seen people, you know, interviewing. We've had just before I came out here to do this video, they were talking to the Coast Guard, and well, you know, he was saying that, you know, it was give or take 96 hours. Of course, the will to live is important in this case. And maybe, you know, these people are still fighting to, you know, to make it back to surface, but it's just so many obstacles that even if they do find the vessel, even if they do find this thing, which is so far below the surface of the ocean, the next problem would be getting it back up. So they thought maybe that they had lodged under something. Maybe the vessel is stuck underneath something. If they did indeed make it all the way down to the ship, it could have caught on something. So they were hoping that they could get another robot to go down there and move it so that it could become unlodged. But the next problem is getting the thing to float back up. I don't know how long it would take for a vessel of that size to float back up, because it looks like it almost looks like a propane tank, like the big ones that you see sometimes on an 18-wheeler. People have it on their property, you know, that live in areas that run on a lot of propane. But the next problem was getting it to float all the way up to the top, because it doesn't have an engine on it. Let me tell you guys what a submersible, the main difference between a submersible and a submarine is that a submersible is supported by a surface vessel platform or shore team, and it'll piggyback sometimes on like a larger vessel like a submarine. Okay, a submarine can go down however far it needs to go, and then it comes back up because it has a motor, so it's able to do that. A submersible is not quite the same. It doesn't have that motor that is able to get it to come back, you know, like on command, the same way that a submarine would. So that thing has to float up to the top. And then even then, if they get it to float up to the top, then they say that the doors are bolted on. So it would take some time to be able to get into the people that have been in there for 4 or 5 days. You know, if they were to find them today, for any length of time, you know, no oxygen. So the reports are grim, and the outlook is dim. It doesn't look like, you know, even the Coast Guard slipped today and said casualties, and then he changed up the wording and said another word. But it sounds like, I think that most of those people probably are assuming that those people are dead on there. These are all very, very wealthy people. They spent $250,000 a piece, including the 19-year-old young man. They all paid $250,000 a piece to ride this down, and honestly, $250,000 to die, which is so sad. It's just really, really sad. But what can you do? I mean, there's really nothing that we can do. I've been watching it on the news. Just before I even came out here, they said that they did find like a debris field. I don't really know what a debris field is. I mean, if they're saying that it's related to the, you know, the ocean, the submersible, then is that something? Are they saying that it broke up? it may be under the weight of all of the water, if it crushed or something like that. Like, I don't know what debris field is, but they're saying before I came out here that they did find something. They said that they were hearing like banging. I don't know if they still hear the banging, but maybe 2 days ago, I had heard that they were hearing banging and clanging noises, but they didn't know where exactly it was coming from. But, so that could have been something that they were following up on as well. But yeah, as time goes on, I mean, the ocean is such a very vast and very, very deep. Like, I saw an Instagram post. I wish I would have screenshot it, but there was an Instagram post one time that I saw that was showing how deep all of the oceans and things were, worldwide, like all of the oceans and how deep it was. And I mean, some of the ocean, there are areas that go down so far that, there's really no way to survive it. So I don't know. It's sad. I've seen the memes and I saw the jokes, and I think that at first, I thought the jokes were pretty funny because I had kind of hoped that they would find the people, but and then we could all laugh and have a good, talk about it. But now it's just sad because these people are probably most likely dead. And just all this money just to be, dead underwater. I can't, just the anxiety of me dying like that. I already told you guys that my fear is to die from drowning. So just the thought of that thing and being down in that, first of all, I ain't no way I would even do it, but even if I were, like, just all of that is just so stressful and worrisome and anxiety filled for me. It's a sad situation, you guys. Prayers up for everybody, all the families involved. Yeah, I know that these are like extremely mega rich people, but people don't deserve to die, especially when they're in like some sort of fact finding or quest or, just some sort of adventure seeking. I hate to see things like this happen to people, but I think that there are certain parts of this world that you just probably don't need to frequent, okay? There's certain places that you can't get to, and that's probably for a reason, and probably for a good reason. So this is an eye-opener. Not saying that it won't ever work, that people will go down there if they really need to, but I think that, is it really, really that important to get down there just to see it? They weren't going to be able to actually be outside of the vessel. They were still going to watch this Titanic ship on a monitor. So the same way they see on the monitor above water is the way they were going to see it underwater. Which is the next question. Is just sort of like, so you're just closer in proximity, but you've upped the danger ante way higher, just for the result to be the same as if you were watching it in your living room, So very, very sad situation there. But, I'm still holding out hope, but it's Thursday morning, you guys. This is almost afternoon, getting close to the afternoon. They still haven't found them. I don't think that they will. Okay. But we'll see. You guys, I'm sure we'll hear more about it over the weekend. They said they're going to keep the rescue efforts going. And then, next week I'll probably give you guys an update.
You a move body giving interviews. I'm just saying I'm amused, but you ain't even flexing. And you cool, tatted up, cover wounds, different vibe, you know improve, but you ain't even flexing. And you ain't gotta try too hard. Number one fan, your side, you applaud. Got me think about inside the walls. Words cut deep, it's like a sword.
All right, you guys, next story up. So, Father's Day. Father's Day was last Sunday. I hope you all had a good Father's Day. For those of you guys who didn't watch my Love and Marriage Huntsville, I had hoped that all the fathers, had a good day, and we had a nice day here with Mr. And it wasn't a good day for everybody though. Okay. Now, apparently, Aoki Simmons, who is one of the daughters of Russell Simmons and Kimora Lee Simmons, she had posted a picture on her Instagram. It was a picture of her mother, and she wrote Happy Father's Day. Okay. Now, we already know that in alone and of itself is controversial, because every Father's Day, people get on the internet and some people like to thank their mothers for the job that they did as the father when the father is absent. And, you know, a lot of people feel like that is a slight towards, you know, fathers out there and all that, and that a woman is not a father and can't be considered a father and can't do the things that a father does, even though women do it every day, you guys. But, you know, people are just sort of like, let the fathers have their day, you know. So anytime you post something like that, is guaranteed to have some sort of reaction. In this case, Russell Simmons, I'm assuming, now some of this is assumption because I don't know how we came to all of the big blow up on Monday, but I am assuming that Russell Simmons saw that post and got upset, okay? Because he is the father of Ming and Aoki, right? So I'm assuming he must have contacted one of them, either Kimora or the girls, and said, for, you know, demanding for them to take it down. They wouldn't take it down, and he must have went off on them. Okay, now we didn't know all this shit was going on in the Simmons household. Well, you know, Russell Simmons and Kimora Lee Simmons haven't been together for 100 years, okay, since those girls were little. We still knew them as a family, because even though Kimora Lee Simmons had moved on, I mean, she's been remarried a couple of times. Well, she wasn't married to Give Us Free, but she, you know, she's been remarried and she's had other relationships, had other kids, a whole nother life, you know, without Russell. But they still considered him family. They seemed like they were close, but somewhere along the line, shit got fucked up. Could have been when the people started accusing Russell Simmons of raping. You know what? Actually, that's not even when it fell apart. I'll take that back. Even when Russell Simmons was accused of raping women, taking advantage of women sexually, touching them unwanted, you know, all of that, assaulting women basically, his daughters, they still stuck up for him. That's their father. They loved their father, and they didn't believe, you know, the allegations. Now, Russell Simmons, even though he maintained that he was innocent, he fled the United States to escape being prosecuted, and he is over in Bali somewhere. But the girls, yeah, they were 100% protective of their dad, you know, in his corner, all of that. Where I think things actually did fall apart was when Kimora Lee Simmons and her last husband, I'm not sure if she's still married to him or not, but you guys remember I've told you guys, we've had talks about this this last husband and him and Kimora Lee Simmons and Russell Simmons being in some sort of partnership with some businesses. But then when the husband got in trouble with his firm that he worked with embezzlement and all of this, apparently Kim had sold off some stocks in order to take care of the money situation and the shit that he had over there with the firm. And supposedly they took Russell's money. That's what Russell Simmons has said, that they took his stocks, the money that he wasn't supposed to do, sold that shit off and used it for the husband. Now, this story, this is like a real surface of the story. I might have a little bit of it wrong, but this is basically what it was. Russell said that Kimora Lee Simmons and her husband took the money to settle his legal bills and shit over here. So now Russell is, they say, flat broke, and he's over in Bali. Now he can't even really afford, I guess, to be back in the United States, because if he comes back, they are going to try him. They are going to, you know, he'd have to be hiring lawyers, and he ain't got the money. So now he really can't really come back, you know, not on no long term to live and be here and all. So I guess Russell is salty. there's been bad blood now between Russell and Kimora Lee, and now the daughters have gotten involved because Russell felt like Kimora Lee had turned his daughters against him. It's interesting when you see these type of situations when families fall apart and there's a parent that believes that the children have been turned against them by another parent. But these kids are grown enough to see how their parents move. They know who their mother is. They know who their father is. They know what both of their parents are capable of. And kids don't have to be turned against you. Kids are smart enough to see it on their own, And so these girls realize that their father, the fact that he has been so pissed, he's just lashes out at them. And now they've been saying that they've been having to deal with his abuse for some years now. Apparently, Russell Simmons had been cut him off while they were in college, told him to drop out of college. He didn't care. Wasn't sending them any money. I guess he feels like he's getting back at the girls because they're such strong supporters of their mother, and he believes that the mother stole his money, so now he's probably just like, I ain't got it, you got, your mama stole the fucking money, so get the money from your mom. I'm sure that that's kind of what his feeling is, but he's taking it out on the children. The children don't have anything to do with what Kimora Lee Simmons and her husband and Russell had going, and you have alienated, and you have, the videos that was coming up on Monday was so sad, gut-wrenching, because it was just sort of like, gosh, I thought that these girls really loved their father. I think that they do love their father, but they also are not going to sit around and be abused by him any longer. They're not going to sit around and let him abuse their mother. What child who has any decent relationship with their mother going to sit by and let their father talk bad about their mother? Of course, children are protective of their parents, but you better believe they protective of their mama first, okay? Unless the mama did some shit. These kids are protective of their mother. So if you're going to have a problem, you better learn another way around it. Figure out another way to have a problem with Kimora Lee Simmons without fighting with your daughters, so Russell Simmons, I think he's just sick of all of them because he's mad, but them girls ain't did nothing but be, kids don't ask to be here. So them girls are here now, and they've got a father that, she posted the video of him screaming and yelling. She didn't post what he was saying. We could just see him, and she was just saying, like, this is the kind of conversations that we have. He always yelling. They almost feel like he might be going senile. They did say that they felt like there may be some dementia that might be kind of creeping in. That could very much be true. Russell Simmons is 70. His health could be declining in that way. Whatever it is, though, it's very, very sad. Them girls didn't deserve it. The kids just don't deserve it. And I hated to see that. I hate to see a whole family like this fighting on the internet, because really, what can we do? There's really nothing that we can do. But I think that the girls feel like if they can just expose their dad, and that maybe he will stop. And that's really what Kimora Lee Simmons said, because she even made a video and she was just like, just leave us alone. Leave us alone. And we won't have none of these blow-ups. It won't be all on social media. Nobody is going to blast you. But yeah, we blasting you because you doing too much. You stressing the girls the fuck out. Okay. And, we just tired of it. We're tired of it. So it was bad. It was bad on Monday. And, my heart went out to those girls. The girls is where my heart went out because, it's hard. Like, relationships, when your kids become grown, and we talk about this all the time because this is really a conversation. This ain't me lecturing you. This is a conversation that we having, because I have adult kids, and you have got to learn how to communicate with your kids as adults now. They are not kids anymore, so you cannot yell and scream at them and they gonna be like, okay, now they're your kids still, yes, but they are adults now. They have opinions. They have voices. They want to express themselves, you know. So you have to, you know, there is a mutual respect that needs to go on there. And if it's not there, then the whole shit just falls apart. And that's where they are, you know. He did come out the next day and he apologized. He said that the girls, you know, meant more to him than anything else in this world, and he loves them and all that. You wouldn't have known that from the day before, but that's what they say. They say that, you know, Russell Simmons, he'll do things in public to make everybody feel like, you know, he's just this good guy, but really behind closed doors, he's like a fucking tyrant, and he's just awful to everybody. So the whole thing is just a sad situation. I feel the worst for the babies, or for the girls. They're not babies, they are grown. But the fact that they are grown, they are now in charge of their lives. And, you know, if they don't want to be involved with their dad, then they don't have to. You know, that's a sad reality, but it's the truth. Like, I'm going to protect my peace. I'm going to protect my mental health. And if it feels like every time I got to be dealing with you, I got to be arguing, yelling, screaming, crying, you know, all of this, then how about I just cut you out altogether? And in that way, I got some peace in my life. Yes, it's sad. My dad is not here, but if I got to have peace and if I have to make the choice, then that's what it's going to be, you know? So very, very sad situation, y'all. Y'all just let me know what y'all think about that. I mean, whose side are you guys on? Are you guys on Russell's side? Are you on the girls' side? And when I say the girls, I mean his daughter and his daughters and his wife, ex-wife. Or you kind of like me, and it's just sort of like, well, there's nothing really we can do about this. I mean, this kind of just, we already was not feeling Russell anyway when the news came out of what he was doing to these women, you know, so it's just sort of like par for the course. You know, that's him. You know, them girls, they've already made the choice to look like they cut their dad out their life, or what, you know, if they have to, and ain't really nothing we can do. You know, prayers up for everybody, though. I sure hated to see it. I sure hated to see it on Monday.
Making me better, you hotter than pepper. You with a big stepper who chasing a cheddar.
All right, you guys, next story up. So, remember I told you guys that Pharrell had been named as the next creative designer, creative director for Louis Vuitton, okay? And he took the place of Virgil Abloh, who died very unexpectedly from cancer. We didn't even know that he was ill, and then next thing we knew, they were reporting that he died, at 42, something like that. So they named Pharrell as the successor to Virgil Abloh, and he had his first fashion show in Paris. This is his the spring summer collection for 2023. They had their runway show in Paris, and honey, all of the celebrities was there. We had Jay-Z, we had Beyonce, we had LeBron, we had Savannah, we had Zendaya, we had Kim Kardashian, we had Lenny Kravitz, we had Naomi Campbell, we had Willow Smith, we had Jaden Smith, Offset, Kelly Rowland, Tyler the Creator. I mean, we had all of the celebrities that could make it, that were invited. That's the important word. I mean, you had to be a who's who in order to get the invitation to this fashion show. It looked like it was the ticket to have, and it looked like it was I think Pharrell is going to be doing very well in that position. I saw an interview with Pharrell, and he was talking about the collection this time decided to concentrate on the damier print. You guys know that is the checkerboard print that Louis Vuitton has, which is not as popular. He said that because damier doesn't get as much love as the traditional LV canvas does, you know, that they decided to concentrate this collection on the pixelation of the damier print. So that's what they were doing. We saw he had the damier camouflage, I think that's what they were calling it, outfit on. His family was there in support, his wife and his 3 kids. I didn't realize. No, I think he has 4 kids, because I think they said he has triplets. That, by the way, does a great job of keeping them off social media, because I ain't never seen none of them kids. Not a one. If I did, it might have been that first one, and that was when they were really little. But yeah, anyway, they were all there as well. They had their same damier camouflage print on. And yeah, it looked like it was a success. He had a choir there. I think they were called Joy of Fire. They sang some songs afterwards. Pharrell got up there with Jay-Z and, you know, did a couple of little tunes and whatnots. And looks like it was a stone cold groove, you guys. Looked like it was a good time had by all. But also, just looking at the fashions, it really looks like, at least this collection looks like it was a slam dunk. I thought everybody looked good. What Zendaya had on, if that was one, I'm sure, because most of them had on, you know, the Louis Vuitton, you know, so that they can be. Also, I forgot, Rihanna and A$AP Rocky. How am I gonna forget my girl and her man? They was there as well. Child, it's hot. It's hot in here. Wiping the mean off right here, like my mama say. But anyway, yeah, the outfits looked very nice. I thought that was a good little twist, you know, to use that print, because we all know the LV, the traditional print, but that damier doesn't get as much love and is still a very nice print to have as well. You know, if you want to if you want to say that you're wearing Louis Vuitton, but you don't want it to be screaming at your people. Now, if you really didn't want to say nothing, you could wear Louis Vuitton and it don't have no logos. But if you just wanted to be subtle with it, you can do the damier, or you can just yell it out and do the regular LV tradition, right? But anyway, I would have loved to have been there. It looked like it was a great time. Love the fashions, all of that. You guys let me know what you think about it, though. Do you think that Pharrell has found his place in fashion? They say he's not leaving the music alone. They say actually during the fashion show, he actually played a new song that he has with the Neptunes. So I don't know what that song is, but that's what they're saying. So, you know, maybe this is his season. He's doing a little bit of both. But yeah, congratulations to Pharrell and his team. He did welcome his team out on the runway as well. It was a whole bunch of people. And I thought it was cool that he thanked them as well. So yeah, I think he's going to do well in that position. What you guys think?
All of these women, they not on your level. You like a mix of business.
All right, you guys, next story up. This is sort of a follow-up. Your girl Moriah Mills. Now, you guys remember who that is. That is the, oh, you guys tell me that, well, I have that she's an OnlyFans personality, but I think you guys told me that she was actually a very successful black porn star. And if that is the case, you know, she did already have her money and all, but she didn't have NBA basketball player like star, because I guess the Zion Williamson kid is you know, is a pretty good player. And so apparently Moriah Mills had attached herself to Zion Williamson. I think that this boy is only 23 years old, 24 years old, like the same age as Joe. And apparently Moriah Mills is closer to 30. But she said that she's been having some sort of relationship with him for the past 3 years, you know, that she's done a lot for him, helped him lose his weight, you know, made sure that he did what he needed to do to be a better basketball player. She even said that she schooled him on the game of these hoes out here that's trying to take his money. Like, the main thing that they gonna try to do is get pregnant and have a baby for you. And that seems like that's what set Moriah Mills off, because Zion has this baby mama, Akima, that he just recently, who also I hear is a porn star. But she is, he's claiming her as his baby mama, and I guess him being in a relationship with him. But Moriah Mills is like, oh no, that hoe is not his woman. I've been the woman all this time. Anyway, she's been fussing about this whole thing, hadn't been getting any response from Zion Williamson, so she decided to go after the Pelicans. That's who he plays for in New Orleans. And now she's got them involved. I was like, girl, this ain't gonna end well. Like, she's trying to get him fired, but they're not going to fire him because he's a star. He's one of those people that they need. Okay. So, you know, the NBA or anybody really, if you are valuable to them, unless some shit just way out and happen, they're going to figure out a way to keep you. That's the same thing they did with old boy with the gun situation, you know? So, and this is not a reason for him to lose his job. The fact that he's got some women, you know, he got women problems, basically. You know, they're not going to fire him over that. But she thinks that they should. She says, quote, NBA, I have sex tapes of me and Zion Williamson, and he also has them on his trap phone. NBA, the Pelicans need to trade him now. He doesn't deserve to be in New Orleans. Sex tape dropping soon. You will lose all your endorsements if the sex tapes drop. Zion Williamson, you are about to be traded and rank be lowered and replaced by Trey on Pelicans NBA. It's over for you. Okay. Fat bust is what she said. And so she seems to believe that the Pelicans are going to fire him because of all of this. But what ended up happening is her Twitter, she tweeted this. Her Twitter account ended up getting suspended because you're threatening people. Revenge porn is against the law. So if you release this tape, even if she is a porn star, you know, if you're releasing a tape against his wishes and all of that, that's considered revenge porn. You can go to jail for that, you know. So Twitter was just like, okay, sis, that's enough. We're going to put you on the suspension. So her account is suspended. You guys know how it is when a woman is scorned. So I don't know if this is going to make Miss Mills decide to leave it alone but she seems to be quite pissed. And I don't know what it's going to take for her to finally get off of Zion's back. The fact that they are ignoring her and the NBA is not responding and neither is Zion Williamson, at least not in public. They could be having all kind of conversations off the record. But because they haven't responded, I think that's making her madder. You know, because it's just like, motherfucker, you gonna ignore me now? You know how we get when we when we be in that mode, right? So I think that she thought that, you know, that they would say something or something would happen, and the fact that nothing has happened has made her just continue on and on. But they have put the suspension on her, and hopefully somebody in her camp can get in her ear and kind of tell her that she needs to leave this alone. Because when you start talking about revenge porn, you know, now you're talking about legalities and possibly getting in trouble for that. So, you know, I know sis hurt, you know, but the boy was 23, and she's been dealing with him for 3 years. So he's only been 20. He's a child, you know, and, from what I understand, kind of like a country bumpkin-ish, you know, not from the big city. He's got all these women after him. He's got this huge NBA contract. And, you know, so Zion, I hope they covering that boy. And I hope that they getting in his ear and letting him know that this is the kind of stuff that can happen if you just sticking your ding anywhere. Okay? Yeah, but Moriah Mills says she is not the one to be played with. Nigga, you is not fixing to fucking ignore her. And out here fucking and having babies with all of these bitches, and I'm your girlfriend. So, damn it, she had done all but moved her ass to New Orleans. And now y'all want to do this. So, yeah, she's not happy with Zion. We'll see what happens with that. I have a feeling that we will still hear more from Miss Moriah Mills.
Pleasure, You're a move body giving interviews. I'm just saying I'm a mule, but you ain't even flat.